To New Beginnings, Cover Killer Nation. The studio is a mess, and so are these albums. New place means new studio being constructed with a bit of a documentary being worked on that will be, seen later, whatever. But now it's time for the list that everybody waits for each and every year. It's time for the top 10 worst albums of 2014. All year people wonder who's going to be on this list. But first I need to preface this with a couple of rules. The first of which is that the albums that are on here, as you might imagine, have to have been released during the calendar year of 2014. This is by no means a top 10 worst albums of all time list. And as of number 2, I'm sure that there are going to be other albums on this list that you're going to feel were perhaps worse than some of the picks that were on this list. However, this is restricted to albums that I myself reviewed right here on this channel for you guys. So I can't necessarily go into things that I didn't touch on this channel because that's really not too fair. We want to stick with the stuff that we actually covered. So without further ado, let's get on with the shit. Let's get on with the top 10 worst albums of 2014. And we start, of course, with number 10. Number 10 is Sonic Highways by the Foo Fighters, which isn't necessarily all of that bad of an album. It's just kind of a bad Foo Fighters album. It's an album that had a lot of expectation behind it. After Wasted Light was such a great album, and after, Dave Grohl basically one-worded or three-worded Gene Simmons by saying that rock was still alive, by basically saying, look what we're about to do. There was the documentary series that was accompanied with it, and whenever the album itself came out, it just felt like the Wasted Light experiment was just that. It was an experiment. It was something that was just a one-off, and they went back to what they were doing previous to all of that. Which is fine, I guess, but it just didn't feel like they broke any evolutionary ground. In fact, it felt like that they regressed a good bit. This is an album that's perhaps good for the first listen, but each subsequent listen just feels like more and more is taken away from it. So, like I said, it's not necessarily that it's a horrible album, but it is a bad Foo Fighters album, and it's bad enough to be on this list. So here it is at number 10. This monumental disappointment in the rock world. That almost proved Gene Simmons right, but thank God that we have a non-metal list that is full of 15 reasons why that isn't the case, and that's coming here in a couple days. Number 9, we have Of Mice and Men with Restoring Force. This was one that was handled early in the year, so we had a disappointment kind of early on. This is a band that has been recommended to me for a number of years that I review some of their work, and people are saying that I would either love it or hate it, and they're surprised I fucking didn't like it. I really didn't. This is a band that really it fits in two categories. It's the reason why I think this band is actually kind of big, because you have people buying Of Mice and Men that also buy the Slipknots of the world, and then you have people buying Of Mice and Men that also purchase the Sleeping with Sirens and the Falling in Reverses of the world. So they kind of cross-reference a little bit whenever it comes to buying markets. So it's definitely wise on their level. But this is an album that just felt like a band that just didn't really know where they wanted to go with it. They have kind of an identity, but it was one that wasn't all of that strong on this release. Restoring Force definitely didn't feel like that was what was being done. They had a couple of ideas that were halfway decent here and there that definitely attempted to do something, but overall, as a complete body of work, it just felt like it was really, really lackluster. This is one that I almost actually omitted from the list. It was one that I felt may have actually just been passable enough to avoid the top 10 worst, but instead it was one that, after listening to it one final time, jumped up the list. It actually, whenever this list was first constructed, it was actually not on it, and In Flames Siren Charms was on it, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit, not because it's on the list, but just because. And that's what one listen will do. Now here it is at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is Phenomena by Within the Ruins. This is another group that a lot of people recommended to me, saying, hey, check this out, this is pretty good. And I can see where some people are coming from. That's about it. I can see where they're coming from. I can understand where exactly they are kind of, developing this thought process from. But the guitar tone, we talked about it in the review. The guitar tone got very, very irritating. And I think I was actually a lot nicer whenever I did the review. And now I've listened to the album about a handful more times, and it's just not increased whatsoever. The guitar tone still continues to be the principal irritant, as well as some of the songwriting. The songwriting is just very, very cliche. It's very for the subgenre. It fits within that little idea. There are some songs, there are some ideas that feel like that they really are starting to go somewhere, and they feel like that they are really starting to develop, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to really grasp the attention. This is one that the guitar tone alone can kind of turn you off from it, but then whenever you come to the full circle with the songwriting and everything like that, it really becomes a difficult challenge to get through, and getting through it multiple times certainly is a bit of a stretch. Now, this is a band that isn't necessarily lighting the world on fire, but they're also not a band that's unknown. I definitely sold a couple of these, and they're definitely the die-hard core fans of this band. So they're used to this, they like this, this is something that really appeals to them. It didn't appeal to me. That's just the way it is. That's why they're on this list at number 8. Number 7, we have Men of Honor by the Adrenaline Mob, or just Adrenaline Mob. Now, you would think that now with one album without Mike Portnoy under their belts, that the band would actually become a little bit better. I mean, after all, they still have Russell from Symphony X. It didn't happen. This is still a band that just doesn't seem to really have their stride. It's one that I understand that they're trying to go for something that's a little bit simpler, something that's a little bit more potentially radio-friendly. It's something that's definitely supposed to sound a little bit more commercial. But that's actually part of the problem. The part of the problem is that their writing of commercial music is very dull. It's very, very boring. It doesn't have a lot of life and soul to it. It's one that instead feels like it is being forced, which at times I really think has been the exercise. The exercise has been that they have definitely dumbed things down a bit to a point where it's even too dumb for radio. And that's one of the problems that they had even with Mike Portnoy in the band. This is one of the reasons why that band was originally a huge disappointment whenever their debut came out. It's something that continues actually with Men of Honor, and this time at least, Mike has not really has anything to do with this. In fact, Mike may make an appearance on the top 35 good albums, you know, the best albums of the year list with another one of his side projects. So, maybe a little spoiler, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. You gotta watch the videos and find out. Let's move on. Number 6, we have Lacuna Coil with Broken Crown Halo. I'm officially done with Lacuna Coil. I will still review their stuff, I'll still talk about it, but let me tell you, don't expect much. This is a band that just feels like, it feels like after 2004, 2005, the soul just got taken out of these guys, and I've talked about this before ad nauseum, and that's the reason why I think I'm done with them. Simply because I seem to be getting into this idea in this realm all too often, and it feels almost like it's an easy target. And that's one of the main reasons why Siren Charms by In Flames actually didn't make the list. Personally, I'd probably put these two side by side if I were to redesign everything, but I'll just talk about both of them, and there you go. These are just two bands that really had a nice idea of what they wanted to do that was really pinpointed out. And then they kind of changed things up a little bit, and typically that's okay. Typically you're able to get away with that, but it was something that really veered a lot more toward simplifying things a bit and maybe making things a little bit more catchy. Maybe that little taste of success actually played into it. It's hard to really say, and you don't really want to point too many fingers, and you don't really want to be too overly judgmental about that, but the result is in, and it is very obvious to see with the songwriting. The songwriting just feels really lackluster and really uninspiring, and it's really hard to listen to sometimes. It really is. There are still people that are diehards that will listen to this all day, every day, and I'm sure there's going to be tons of people on their ass end of 2014 lists will include a band such as Opeth with Pale Communion, but this is my two that really just feel like they've lost a lot of that love and feeling, so to speak. So, screw it, it's no longer just Lacuna Coil, it's Lacuna Coil and In Flames at number 6, Lacuna Coil with Broken Crown Halo, and In Flames with Siren Charms, even though I think Siren Charms has the band perhaps learning a couple things and perhaps pushing forward in the right direction, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh boy, now we're getting into the top 5. This is where things start to get really, really shitty. Talking about generic 6 AM with Modern Vintage in at number 5. 2 albums. These guys were really making some pretty kick-ass tunes. Tunes that really felt like they had a lot of drive and desire behind them. And then Modern Vintage comes on the same year that Motley Crue decides to call it quits as a band. So this is going to be 6 AM. This is going to be Nikki Sixx from now on, if that is how it is to continue, or they could just decide to be Kiss and continue to come back and come back and come back. Oy. Are you ready for that? I'm not. 6 AM, though, with this album, really didn't build on a lot of their success from their previous 2 records. In fact, this is one that really seems to have knocked a lot of the sails out of, or a lot of the wind out of the sails of the 6 AM vessel. This is an album that's just completely generic and mediocre, one that really brokers down the low end of radio-friendly rock, one that definitely tries ever so slightly, every so often, to boost it up a little bit, but once again, it feels forced. It feels overly overly forced to try to go to this high end, to try to appeal to a wider array of people, and the result just sounds very lackluster, very soulless, very generic. This is something that we've heard, I know, within the past couple of albums here, but this is one of the main reasons why a lot of albums tend to be really bad, because they do have this very generic and very stale flavor to it. This is one that feels very monochrome and doesn't have a lot of life to it. And life and livelihood is something that is necessary within an album in order to really captivate an audience. Unless, of course, you're doing suicidal death metal where life is the last thing that you want. But that's kind of the point. With a rock album such as this, you need that life. You need to have that vitality within your album in order for it to really maintain and hold attention. This one did not. That's why it's at number 5. Number 4, we have Intolerance by Throwdown. You want to talk about a snooze fest that just breathes generic, Throwdown is your band. Good fucking lord. I can talk about the new Hatebreed album, but there's no reason to. The Hatebreed is just a band that's doing what Hatebreed has done. Throwdown, you could arguably say, is doing the exact same thing, but Hatebreed can actually captivate you a little bit, whereas Throwdown just puts you to fucking sleep. This is masculinity, machismo, and attempted brocore at its finest. Brocore is actually the wrong subgenre now that people are actually starting to fucking recognize that. Thanks, Attila. But this is just a band that doesn't have anything really going for it right now. These are songs that feel very dull, listless, lackluster, and just don't have a place, period. How this band still has a deal is somewhat of a mystery to everybody in the universe except for Throwdown fans. And if you're still out there, Throwdown fans, wow. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Throwdown is not. Number 3, Blood for Blood by Hell Yeah. This is similar to 6 AM, where the first couple of Hell Yeah albums were fun. They had a little something behind them. I remember reviewing Band of Brothers and being honestly very, very taken aback and pleased with the result. Then I listened to Blood for Blood. Blood for Blood this year was honestly one hell of a fucking trial, because this album was atrocious. It feels as though all of the momentum that was built up prior to this moment just absolutely ceased, and in fact decided to walk backwards, such as a backwards marathon, thanks Between the Buried and Me. And they won the backwards marathon nearly. They came in 3rd place. That's pretty damn good, pretty damn close, considering this was a band that was nowhere near this list in years past, and now all of a sudden has catapulted themselves right into bronze medal contention. This album is ripe with just terrible ideas, ones that definitely feel like they tried to do something but almost feel a bit unfinished. Almost feel as though once they had the idea in mind, they just kind of figured, fuck it, we're going to go with it and it'll be fine. People will love it. I didn't love it. A lot of people haven't loved this. If I sell a Hell Yeah record, this sure as hell isn't it. The ones that I'm selling are still the previous couple, especially the debut, because, you know, Hicks love alcohol and ass, and I still kind of do too. Does that make me a hick? Fuck it, I don't care. I am, y'all. I'm a goddamn hick. Oh my god, do I love me some alcohol and ass from Hell Yeah. But this Blood for Blood piece of shit, fuck this nonsense. This is bullshit. I'd rather go outside and rape my dog and kill my wife than listen to this goddamn album again. That's why it's at number 3. Number 2, Immure with Eternal Enemies. This should be obvious. The fact that this isn't number 1 is only because there was an Attila record this year. There, I just spoiled that too. Let's talk about 2 and 1. Let's talk about Immure, and let's talk about Attila at number 2 and number 1. This could be flip-flopped. You could do whatever you want. Co-champions, co-MVPs, fuck it all. They're co-MVPs of the shit universe once again. And why is that? Because they're writing music that essentially is not meant to be taken seriously. It's not meant to be all of that bullshitty, and I shouldn't be flipping out about it supposedly. But then, whenever they talk about themselves, they want everybody to take them seriously. They want to be the number 1 stars of the universe. We have these 2 guys, these 2 bands that decide that Fred Durst was the greatest thing that music ever gave to anybody, whether it be to the people of the 50s and 60s, whether it be the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2010s, whether it be the best thing that happened to music last the fuck week. And now they decide, because of this great gift, this Jesus of rock and roll that has been granted upon us by the highest of heavens, we must attempt to do our part and be his apostles, disciples, lovers, and friends, and do the best that we can to be just like him. And that's exactly what these 2 bands have attempted to do in their own styles, and it's another reason why both of them fail miserably at such, considering both of these bands are trying to do things that are a bit ridiculous. They're trying to further the simplicity of music even further, throwing it into metal. And it's something that's just taking it back further and further. And people like this stuff. And I don't understand, to this day, why. I really don't. I didn't understand it whenever I reviewed Attila's album last year. Well, I didn't review it, but you know what I mean. I didn't understand it whenever I reviewed Amir's Slave to the Game. Why do I continue to give them chances? Because bands can evolve. You can sometimes take something very simple, such as this idea, and if you find the right combination, anybody can like it. Believe me, there will be a moment in time, I guarantee it, that Amur may make it to the top 35 list. Or Attila. Slipknot could be on the top 35 list this year. Would you have ever expected that? Longtime users of this channel, back in 2010, 2011? Hell no, you didn't expect that. You would expect that they would be so far from this list. You would expect that Point 5, The Great Chapter, would be on this list. But it's not. That's why there's always hope. But for these two albums, there is no hope. Attila is above Amur for one reason and one reason alone. They felt the need to try to create hype through lyricism prior to their album being released, and it backfired. It's the reason why they're one of the biggest dumbasses of music in 2014, and why Amur was exempt from that list that was posted a couple of days ago. It's the reason why they have the #1 spot, because this is an album that was so undeniably terrible that there was no reason for anybody to listen to it. The Amur album at least sold a little bit. I don't know why. The Attila album not selling might mean that there's a little bit of hope, but I sincerely doubt it. Well, there you go. 10 turds. Many bigger than the others. Don't forget, of course, to vote in the Cover Killer Nation Christmas contest, where you could potentially win Dream Theaters Live at Luna Park, the Super Awesome Deluxe Edition. If you're viewing this from the future, where that top 35 list has already been done, thanks for voting if you did. If you didn't, sorry that you missed your chance, and if you say sorry for party rocking in return, I will come to your house and personally murder you. Thanks. Good night. Enjoy the shit. If you like the shit. I hope you don't, because this was shit. Yeah.